Hey guys, Alucard here, also known as Reddit's favorite demon. And today I have a video about the developer balancing and how the devs have pretty much ruined Evil Dead the game. Now I know that sounds dramatic and it doesn't mean the game can't still be saved, but the matchmaking system that they recently implemented definitely exposes all the flaws and balance that I've been repeating since launch. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the discussion of how I believe that the developers themselves have really ruined Evil Dead the game. It's not like one thing they did it, but it's a number of things that did it, and one of which is not fixing major issues the entire time while adding new stuff. So one of the things is Let's Go Baby, a new prestige system, which by the way is a screenshot of a test build that shows much more reasonable challenges. Like you can't see it, but it says like 30,000 damage instead of 1 point something million, which is actually what it is. So it looks very reasonable, easy to do, and one of the reasons that this prestige system is a problem, which I'll go into, is that it adds 5 skill points possible for each character under a really huge time-gated system designed to waste your time for months, give you something to do. Now, having something to do in a prestige system isn't a bad thing. That's fine. You know, all the dumbasses on Reddit, no offense, that say like, oh, you wanted a prestige system, now you got one and you're complaining it takes a while. No, people are more complaining, I think, because there's skill points that are gated behind this shit that needs like tons and millions of points. Even if you did these hellish challenges that aren't even challenges, some of them are really stupid, like summon the boss 450 times or summon 1600 portals. That's easy. It's not a challenge, just a waste of your time. So these challenges are kind of lazy. They're very much copy pasted. The rewards are kind of lazy because a lot of it for most characters is 5% on a passive benefit increase. That's all it is, a 5% increase on one of your passive benefits for the vast majority of survivors and demons. That's all it is, something like that. Very, very lazy. And we have to ask ourselves a lot of things with that, but I'm going to go into that. So I'm going to explain multiple ways that the devs have ruined Evil Dead the game, as well as demonstrate how the main reason must be that they simply don't care, and I'll go into that. So how have they ruined the game? Let's go into the top reasons, okay? That makes it a little bigger. They added a very lazy, again, can't emphasize lazy enough, prestige system that essentially time gates people from getting important skill points, which requires millions of spirit points, like I said. They literally unbalanced the game even further than it already was by doing this instead of just giving everyone the extra skill points and making the other stuff, like cosmetics, behind it. Now, I will say this. If there wasn't skill points involved in the prestige system, I wouldn't do it, but that's me. I wouldn't care about it. I really don't care about it anyway, and I skipped the entire system by just paying spirit points, which is an option you can do, which defeats the entire purpose of having challenges. And just essentially, I guess they just want you to sit there and waste time playing games so you have enough spirit points to do everything. So that kind of also is a head scratcher on what the whole point is of these challenges, since you could just skip them all if you have the spirit points. You need a lot though. But yeah, they unbalanced the game even further. They failed to address major issues that have been complained about and identified since launch by me and others, including cars, finisher, iframe spam, possession level 3 mysteriously nerfed with no patch notes. Mispossession, you press F, you don't get what you want, even if it's right in front of your face. And it might even say press F for a second, but then for some reason, in a fraction of a second, it goes off the target or whatever. The bugged, unreliable boss grabs, which I will demonstrate. Railing vaults, body blocking window vaults, vault looping. You know, this is just things still remaining, even though they tried to solve the vaulting in general problem by letting demon units vault. Excessively long match time, 30 minutes for 2 blue objectives is a joke. Stun locking units, skeleton unit decapitation bug, which I'll show you, and more. I'm gonna think of everything on the spot. There's a lot more. Decided that right in the midst of adding these new skill points in this prestige system, which unbalances the game, it was a great time to add strict account level matchmaking before addressing any of the above. And then they've had nearly zero communication. So that's my main reasons I'll go into that they've ruined the game. Can I lower the brightness? How do I change the mode? It was at this point that I realized many people in the chat were complaining that the light mode of Google Docs was burning their eyes. So I had to go ahead and find a way to switch to dark mode, and I'm just cutting ahead to skip all that. I mean, I feel like this is dark mode. This is dark mode, okay? Relax. Better? Okay, thank you. What's up, Dashy? Okay. All right, anyways, so the lazy prestige system, let me go further, okay. So the system is lazy because many of the challenges are stupid, like I said. Like summoning the boss X amount of times, or summoning the portal X amount of times, because that's easy to do, you just press the button, it's just a waste of your time like it's designed to do. So that wouldn't be an issue so much, even though it is still stupid and lazy, no offense. Except that they gate the skill points. So you can avoid them entirely if you have enough spirit points anyway. But then you have to also spend millions of spirit points to re-level your character multiple times for no other reason other than to waste a lot of spirit points. Again, wasting your time. So the problem with this is gating your skill points through this lazy ass system. And this is how the gating the skill points and new skill points in general further unbalances an already unbalanced game. So not only is the game already unbalanced, which I'll go into, but now you have guaranteed matches thanks to the new matchmaking, where one side's always at a disadvantage because you will hardly ever see every survivor and demon at Prestige 5, right? It's never going to all be on the same page because of how insane a grind it is to get there. And even if they all are Prestige 5, then the demon is the one that's at a disadvantage because the sheer number of extra points on the survivor side is just literally unfair. I don't know how they thought that was balanced at all. It's like literally unfair for them to have so many extra points and you only have 5. That makes a much more of a difference as a team for them than you. On top of this, the devs were too lazy to rework any of the active skill trees besides Arthur's passives, which is not the active part. But so by simply handing out 5 more skill points, you take a lot of thinking out of the equation, especially in most survivor builds, and make it an easy choice to get practically everything you want. The game has not been significantly changed at all to be balanced for this. So when the characters have more balance bar damage and pure damage and other shit they usually couldn't combine together, it causes the demon to have even more of a no chance to fight them more than a few seconds in combat with almost every unit. This was already a problem, by the way, but now it's worse. There's also useless skills like Head Start, Boss Portal, cost reduction since the boss costs nothing to actually summon. Just you need to have that much. I don't know what situation you'd want to have very little energy, bare minimum, to summon your boss in the first place. Whatever niche situation that could be, I'd rather have something different. And that still hasn't been reworked, and nothing was done for the passive skill tree except to simply increase its benefit by 5% for the majority of characters. This is probably how the devs represent that they give 5% of a shit about what happens in the game at this point. Without the extra skill points, I would have no interest in the system, but because of the skill points, it feels like I'm forced into the system, even though I can never complete it because it's an insane amount of grinds of spirit points and waste of time. So now people are always never going to be even, and then it begs the question, what are they balancing this game for? Is it for everyone at the default max level, 45 demon, 25 survivor, or everyone at Prestige 5? Did they even think if everyone's at Prestige 5? Because they probably didn't expect anyone to be at Prestige 5 yet. How are they balancing this game? They probably don't know themselves. The answer is probably simply, for the original thing, everyone at default level, since they've made, again, no major changes to how the game works at all to account for this prestige system skill points. Which makes it even more hilarious that they don't care, because then that means that they don't give a shit about the balancing, since they just rushed the system out, put some skill points in it, and did nothing to account for what that would do to the game at all. And then they put matchmaking in the mix, which matchmaking itself isn't bad. It's only bad right now because of how unbalanced the damn game is. That's it. Matchmaking itself is okay if they maybe did something to be more flexible with your account level, so I don't have a very long queue time for the same people. If they did something just to help that a little, it'd be fine. I think it's just the matchmaking is not the issue. Playing good people is not the issue. The issue is that good people is just an unfair match 99% of the time, and no one wants to play that. But they haven't planned very well for this game. They haven't planned very well for this system because obviously they couldn't have balanced for it because they didn't change anything. So why did they add skill points to this and without any further balancing? Because they don't care. Because they rushed it. They're probably in a rush just to put a damn system out. They don't care how that impacts the balance. They just put the system out. They don't care. That's again my point. Sorry, but I don't see how else you do that. So they did patch. I use this. They said patch first, think never. Kind of like the show, like when they say shoot first, think never. That's kind of what they did in The Office. Then they've been failing to address a lot of issues. Sorry. I love stroking my ego now. Okay, yeah, what's up? I think I said what's up, Dan. What's up, Mero? What's up, Tony? Who's saying I'm wrong? Who's wrong? Me? I'm always wrong. They do need, I'm going to go into that. They do need to rework things. That's the problem. So a big one to start with, so let me show you some of my things. So remember how I mentioned why that guy said he won on Necromancer half the time? It's balanced. This is why you can't win half the time. Okay? Let me show you. Real quick. This is what everyone, once they know they can do this. This guy didn't even know he could do this, but you can never win. Good luck. Watch me flute. I control an elite. Look at my HP. See my HP? See my balance right there, by the way? Boom. Dead. Let's watch that again. They can do that every time if they know how to do it. Just by shooting you in the head. Oh, dead. By support, by the way. That's a support. Who saw that? Exactly. One more time. Remember, this is a major issue. And this, by the way, this has been a problem for months. Not days, not weeks. Months. None of you guys know that. Months. This has been a thing. And it's not just limited, by the way, to necromancer units. It seems to be any skeleton unit. Because I noticed it on even the basics for the Plaguebringer. Then we have another major issue, which is the boss grab being always unreliable, vast majority of the time to even work. Look, we have the last guy here, perfect situation, right? Watch this one. I don't think I can even grab him on the stairs. Do you see that? Point blank, it looks like I went through him. Boom, miss. Did I fuck that up? I don't think so. That's just a brief example. There's a million I could show you of it even bugging out further, but it doesn't work. It's unreliable. It doesn't work. It's supposed to be one of your main tools, and it doesn't even fucking work half the time. And they have never fixed this. This has been a problem since launch, by the way. Since launch, so 6 months. 6 months, that's been a problem. I'm sorry, that's another thing for after. That's 6 months. That's about the communication. 6 months, we have something that doesn't work. So they haven't fixed that. Yeah, it's so bad. Even if they're on a 1-inch slope, everything needs to feel reliable. If they shoot you with their gun, it needs to feel like it'll hit, or they are going to get pissed as survivors, right? If they aim, shoot, and it lags or something, they're not even considered a real game anymore, right? Like, that's not fair. Things need to work when they have to work, and it can't be like a one-off thing. That happens every fucking game. You can probably find that happening to your boss grab. Every fucking game, all the time, and it's never been fixed, and it's been complained about, brought to their attention, even though it's not on the known issues page because they don't update it, but it's not fixed. And this is just one example of so many fucking annoying things with Demon, like a couple of things, and major bug right here that just not fixed, not addressed, that we don't know when it'll get fixed, if ever, and it's like, makes you not want to play the Demon, not want to play when you know that something might not even work, and then you have survivors that are going to try to abuse that. They're going to try to stand in spots that make sure it doesn't work. They're going to try to, you know what I mean, which I don't blame them personally exactly, but they're going to try their best. Imagine that on top of that. You have to think about that, going against that. Is that fun for you? Not for me. And then the September patch, characters such as Kelly, Warrior Ash, and Henry, I could show this, but I forgot to get a clip. But basically, they can now save themselves from grabs. They could never do this before. They could never save themselves like that before. But their own passive now saved them, suddenly. Because they did something which is not in the patch notes to boss grabs. I don't know what they did. They like weakened them or something, made them like paper. But they get interrupted almost instantly now. By very little damage. So even like Warrior Ash, his shield explosion, Henry just reflecting the grab damage you're doing, and Kelly, if she dodged and shot you at all, your bleed while you're grabbing her will stop it. So you can't even grab the thing that's supposed to counter hunters. You can't even do when it works because it'll free her. And a lot of people are starting to run Kelly and shit, and these characters, right? These are common characters. So that means that your grab can't even work when it's supposed to. Even though it even says in the text for the army tab, which I could show you, that other survivors must attack to be freed. Not you, other survivors. Okay? Again, non-patch notes, a very common pattern among the devs. They don't put things in the patch notes that are major changes or different, make a difference. They don't, again, because they're always in a rush, I'm sure, and don't care enough to really double check or fix it later. It's kind of, they did fix one set of patch notes later. I have to admit that. They did. But there's things like this they just never have added, and they never will, maybe. Who knows? I don't know if they know. But anyways, an old but great problem has always been cars. The devs have repeatedly nerfed cars, reduced a handful of cars, which was misleading as fuck when they said that, and changed nothing. And they even buffed the damage that cars deal to survivors, but haven't addressed all these issues with them. Cars are infinitely faster than you. Survivors can immediately rush off the start of the game knowing that you're a low level and can't do anything, and rush in different cars without any fear to loot, get map pieces or anything. Cars can be parked in the active objectives and block AI pathing, but used as new impossible loops that they can get around or get into, when normally they'd have no escape finally in the middle of your combo if they mess up. So now you have to deal with these cars by moving them and trying to flip them every game, which is very frustrating, boring, and shitty and tedious. Survivors can body block cars to stop it from moving, by standing very close like I showed. And this has been an exploit for months, because I remember this back in the day when I used Necromancer for months ago against that one squad, and they did this shit to me. And it's been reported, and they know about it, but they haven't done anything. The devs need to rework the core issue of how cars can make the game very unfair for one side. If either the survivors have too many of them, right, or if they have none. Either way, it's one or the other. It's like a complete opposite, like unfair situation. The cars can't be the center of the game. They should be like a very small, benefit to get from point A to point B as a team, and that's it. They should not be like all these different directions of views. It can't be two places at once. You never can catch up to a car, so it could just be used to grief you for minutes on end. There's so many things about it that have been a problem, been reported as a problem, and not been addressed, that there's no excuse for this. What your boy Miggy was saying about the whole, it takes a while to fix things as devs. Dude, they've had a while. Sorry. They've had a while. It's long enough. They had a while. I don't know why it's not addressed now. It takes work, brainstorming, some passion, because you got to rework things, and I believe they just don't care enough to do it. I really don't. Now, another thing is combat is a joke for most demons. Probably all demons, I should have put. But the telegraphs are too easy to react to once you know what they look like. The AI is too easy to kill. They die in like one hit. The survivors simply have to focus on one thing at a time, which is you, and it's easy to avoid you, and you can almost never hope to hit them, and then even when you can, you're probably dead by then. Combat needs a rework in general. There needs to be more options, mind games, unreactable attacks, like jabs in a fighting game. Survivors should have to try to make a read on you in the middle of being pressured to kill you. You have to be able to pressure them, not them just like kind of taking their time dodging you all day. Even when they're not coordinated. They need to be coordinated to decide whether they attack you, try to avoid you, try to have to make a read at some point that's a little difficult, or they take some damage. It needs to be something like that where it's not just a game of numbers with counting how many dodges they did. You finally get one hit every hour, which they easily heal with a heal that they have many of. Which makes it feel very frustrating because it feels like you accomplished absolutely nothing because you didn't. There needs to be a consistent way to punish them if you know that they're going to dodge. If you know the exact moment they'll dodge on reaction or just guess, or you know they're going to spam double dodge, you should have something you can do to counterplay that, to punish that, so they don't want to double dodge anymore, unless it's like some rare situation. They shouldn't be a guaranteed get out of jail free, I can't get hit by anything you do, move. There should be something I could do to get that. Tekken has ways to punish sidesteps. I know it's a fighting game, etc., but there's ways, you need something I can do to punish you if I know you'll do that. The grab is supposed to be that, but that's only for the boss, and it doesn't fucking work. So I don't know what the point is, and it can't work if there's any teammate nearby now. Before, it used to work for a little bit, even if there's a teammate. Now it doesn't. So I don't know what the hell the counter is. There really is none. You have instant balance bar breaking on top of that, stun locking. If you get stunned once, they can time their hits so they get stunned again before you can even move with most units, if you're not dead already. And you get killed in general while you're stunned. You can't play the game. How is that fun? You know what I mean? Like, you can't play. You have to melee them with the vast majority of units. What are you going to do? You can only dodge once with the basic. That's it. Every 3 seconds. You have to take a hit after that. They could dodge multiple times. They're going to balance break you before you really do anything to kill them. It's just that if they know what they're doing, you'll never have a chance, right? And it's just like, and again, a numbers game of just throwing so many units at them in a tedious, frustrating manner to hopefully they throw the game. Or they run out of heals somehow, which they're not going to. And it takes work to redo this shit, but I don't think the devs care enough to put in that work. I think all we'll see is changes to balance bar numbers, which won't freaking solve it. Alright. What's up, 1396, sorry. What's up, Shy? Sorry for missing the chat, I'm just trying to, like, focus on this. But basically, no one likes getting stun locked. It was bad in Resistance, it's bad in any game. No one likes not being able to play the game. The balance bar system in general, it sucks. Dismemberment system should just be kind of removed totally, because I don't know what the point is except to randomly behead you, and which suddenly kills you, making your entire health and balance bar useless, and is now being exploited against skeletons, where it's probably not supposed to work like that. I don't know what the point of that is. It makes a little bit of sense for AI, but not for you. As a possessed unit, same reason they can't finisher you. Why can they dismember? They should just delete this and try something new if they want another system. Dismemberment, I don't know what the point is. I think all survivors have accepted the fact when it got nerfed that maybe it's just not go for it anymore, even though they still do sometimes, but like they don't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't, they seem to have accepted the fate of it being dead as a system, and it's okay. Balance bar is like central to the game because of the book phase, but you can't just change numbers on that. That's because either A, survivors will have a way to deal with the balance bar, either we'll be able to deal enough balance bar damage to guarantee stun you fast enough so you can't never break the book, or can't ever break the book, or B, they can't stun you fast enough because you have too much balance bar now, because you can actually play the game. Now you're guaranteed to break the book. It's going to be A or B no matter what. There is no in between. There is no way there's a back and forth. That's it. It's one or the other every single time. And the only way that could be different is if you give us more fucking options at the book phase or any phase in the game. And there needs to be different things that we can do. It can't just be based on the stupid balance bar. It can't just be based on them dealing enough damage or not. Because you can only do one thing. You have to rush the book, especially when they increase the health. You have no time to not rush the book. You have no other option to try to win the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there really is no other way. You have to just rush it. You have no choice. Especially if you couldn't kill them, which you probably can't against any good team because of, like I said, combat being a joke. On top of that, survivors can use a single heavy attack and press F to chain finishers on units and abuse the iframes with no cooldown, as their CDs at their own cooldowns and stamina recover during that animation that you can't interact with them. Nothing's been done to limit or reduce the benefit of finisher spam, so any high-level survivor resorts to abusing it in combat in general. To avoid combat, sorry. The demon literally can't do anything. Does it sound familiar? Like cars, spectator mode. Like getting stun locked, spectator mode. Does this sound familiar? You see a pattern here? They can't do anything, so they have to sit there watching you and wait yet again. And then if you spam another one, another unit, you can't even control how these units are spawning on objectives. They're just game's gonna keep throwing them at them. And since there's no cooldown or anything, they can just keep chaining this with any survivor. Very, very frustrating. Not only that, support can heal them in the middle of this. They get their cooldowns back, like I said, stamina back, so they could dodge, hit, finisher, dodge. Some people desperately that I laughed at the other night were doing this so much that they were just spamming heavy attack in the hopes that a unit was there without even seeing one, because they knew they could spam F after if they landed a connected a hit. You know, luckily there wasn't, but if there was, which I couldn't control while I'm in a unit, they would have got that, and then they would have survived. You know what I mean? Like, this is not fair. There needs to be a very heavy limit or a huge CD if you're going to give them this. You know, the iframes are one thing, but you can't just go back to back to back to back. You know, the fact that your cooldowns, stamina recover too, and everything, like, I don't know how the devs have never addressed this. Again, early problem, never addressed for months. It's not about having enough time to fix it. It's about not wanting to. And that's why I say they don't care. They have their own priorities. I think they're prioritized to do certain content or like the prestige system or something. They're told to do that, and they don't care about anything else. They don't do anything else. They don't care about the core game. They don't care about how much something like the prestige skill points would unbalance the game. They just did it anyway in a rush, and they didn't care. Now they're getting reminded by everyone complaining and not wanting to play. So like I said, matchmaking itself isn't bad. It's okay to get matched against good people. I don't mind it at all. The only problem is because the game's not freaking balanced, it's not fun at all. And it used to be that at least sometimes, the only good thing I'll say about the matchmaking, one of the good things, is that this exposes this problem big time. It's not just me trying to desperately explain it to everybody. When they see my win rate and they see that I'm playing noobs half the time, they still think, oh, Demon's just OP, or you just want to win all the time. Like, now they can see now, when other people barely can handle this shit for a couple of days, it's because it's not fun. It's not fun. It doesn't matter. Even if you win that game, it's not fun. The way this game is at the quote high level, it's boring, tedious, and annoying, and frustrating. It's not fun. You're dealing with such unfair shit with combat and everything else that, like, how are you supposed to even win? And then if somehow they throw enough that you might be able to win, it's still stressful as fuck. And even if you do win, it's frustrating. You don't want to do that shit again for a week. At least I don't. Even if you manage to win that hellish game, you know, like, they need to fix exploits, bugs, all these things I mentioned. A lot of people that have played, even people from the dev streams, like I mentioned, like I think I mentioned Swinky, Aggro Free Insight, they don't want to play anymore. At least not Demon, because it's not fun. I mentioned that here. Like, why have they all quit? Because there's no communication. I'm not saying they all quit, but I'm saying, like, why don't they want to not play Demon? Because it's not fucking fun. Not fun. What does it take for the devs to understand that and care enough to do something? I don't know. It's because the game's problems have been impossible to ignore, at least with the new matchmaking. The only good aspect of the matchmaking is this. If one day the devs ever do handle a lot of the issues, matchmaking's great. Great idea. It was just bad to do now before they fix all these already known issues that have been complained about over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And they just keep ignoring it. Oh, hey, let's go, baby. Forget all these problems. New prestige system live. Let's go. Fake news picture right here with, like, way easier things than you actually have to do. Let's ignore every single problem. Let's not communicate. Let's communicate this from the marketing team, but not communicate any problems since fucking summertime on the Reddit. You know, that's my problem with them. And here's an example. We have a knowledge base here with known issues that they made. They used to actually update this, and this has been here since October. When we refresh it, nope, not updated still. All we know is that they fixed Henrietta's gas skill duration stacking. They still apparently haven't fixed the crashing on PS4, which has been there for months, ironically. It looks pretty bad, even if the licensor thing is there, as an excuse that the licensing don't want negative stuff said. But why have they not updated this in over a month? Can anyone tell me? Because don't care. Not because they need more time to develop changing this website. They could do that. I promise you. I could figure out how to do that. I could edit the HTML, add some more stuff to this little table right here. It wouldn't be that hard. Put a little yellow circle, working on a fix, investigating with a red circle. It's not that hard. I could do it myself probably in like a few minutes if I had the list of stuff I gotta add. But that takes, again, caring. Which, again, I feel like this known issues page kind of proves they don't. They did for a little bit, and then for over a month. It's not a day, it's not a week. Again, it's over a month that this shit has been here. Where's all the other issues? There apparently are, I've been told they are aware of other issues. Like, for example, when you try to do some light attacks with a boss and they try to sprint, it does like an extra attack input that you didn't queue up. They're aware of that. Someone told me they got a response saying something along those lines. We're aware of this, we're working on it or something. Why isn't it on the page? Whoever can explain that to me while still kissing the dev's ass, please do, because I don't know how you can explain this one. That's a tough one, huh? Because they don't fucking care. That's what I have to say. And if you look at their Reddit, I searched Saber Interactive. I don't know what the car of the game is, but they posted July 26 patch notes. They posted shortly after that the dev update on some things in the works, what they're working on. This was the only good post they did right here. This post. This was the only really good feedback and communication that they gave us about everything. Other than that, they only did one other thing, which is, oh, look, the blacksmith came out. That was it. Everything else is in the car of the game. I don't even know what that is. That's where they posted everything else ever since then. They had one good update in 6 months. This was a good post that they did. This is when they tried to explain that they are listening to the problems. Look at that. See this kind of thing? Demons feel nerfed. Too many vehicles, even though this was a joke and deceptive as fuck because they didn't ever fix this. But they at least were trying. And this was something good that allowed me even to wait. Item drop exploit, etc., etc. Look at all these negative things. The licensors haven't fired them yet. They're able to post it. Amazing. I wonder how they did that. It's because they wanted to. Because I guess at this point, they cared. But why don't we see a post like this once a month, is what I'm saying. When we have one of these like once a month about what the common things are, how hard is that to do? It's a little bit of work, but that's what I'd be asking for. Once a month, middle of the month maybe. Can you give us an update on things? What's going on? We have any targeting time on when we're going to try to fix this? You know, like this is what the thing is. Like, why this is a great post, but it's only been posted once ever. That's what I can't stand. What's up, Ashley? Sorry, I'm just going over my little thing. And Gotham Tags crashed on PC. It is weird. You get a response. You know what's funny? The funny thing is they tell you to check their socials for updates and info. They don't post any. What are you checking up? They only post when the marketing team tells them that, oh, new update coming out. By the way, server going down. By the way, guess what's coming out? New costume for Warrior Ash. That's all they post. They don't post stuff like this except once, which I wish they would do more because this was a great post. And it felt like they were working with the player base mostly with this, and they were trying. They did do some good things with that next patch. The September patch was probably the best ever, even though there's still a lot of problems, like the cars were not solved at all, and there's still a lot of other issues. But this was a good patch and a good set. And if they just kept up with this kind of shit, I think the game could have been really, really successful. I really believe in that patch. Plaguebringer was great. I thought Mia was great. All really good design. Not everyone's a fan of David, but I think that's still interesting design. They had good design characters. It looked like they worked hard on them. They did a great job with the objective spawns finally not being right on top of each other. They tried to make demons buffed a little better until survivors realized they could do the same shit, etc., etc., etc. They did a good job with this. This was good. This was actually very good, this post, and like what they did the next patch. Even though it took a while. It did take 6 weeks. A little too long for this freaking item drop exploit, in my opinion. But they did a good job. Thanks for the follow, sorry. But my main issue is no communication. Even Dead by Daylight, which I mentioned, which is far from a good example of balance. But I know that Sledge likes to mention Dead by Daylight. They recently kill switched a map that was broken. I think it has like 34 pallets or some shit. It would be insanely unfun to play as the killer. Guess what they did? They didn't wait 2 months while they fix it and leave it there. They fucking removed it. They didn't just leave it like that. Think about the blue hunting rifle. Remember how they just left it like that until they finally fixed it? I wonder if there was a way they could have deleted that from the item table. I don't know. I'm not a programmer, but I feel like it couldn't have been that hard. If they wanted to, again, they could have. But I don't think they care enough to do. Like, these are things like this that I wish they would do. I wish they would address this shit and do it. Yeah, you've had it happen. I've had some happen like once, I think, or whatever. But at least it's rare now. I'll give them that. They worked. They did it. It may not be 100% fixed. It's fixed enough that I feel like they did. Like it's better than it's better. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm actually okay with that. Their level of fixing it for now. I understand if it's not perfectly fixed. Like, and again, I'm not a monster asking for perfection. I'm not asking for the most perfect balance that's never been seen in an asymmetrical. I'm just asking for not making iframe spam. The cars being the center of the freaking game for half the game. Not really even be able to fight them at all until the objective because you just starve for energy constantly, at least on 2 demons. And then on Puppeteer, you're just stun locked into oblivion because you can only use the freaking basic, and the elite is a joke because you can't easily dodge his freaking lightning, and everything else sucks. Like and feeds them heals. But there's so many issues. They didn't force people to play something broken or for weeks or months in DBD. They tried to deal with it again. And when Wesker first came out, in the PTB, there were survivors that were vaulting. I think before he could finish vaulting himself and swing, and they made it so that if they're too close, they get hit. If they try that shit, they were abusing that. They did it very, very quickly too. I have to say, they fixed that. Somehow these devs, I know they're a bigger team, have more money and everything, but they're able to do shit pretty quickly if they want to. And I believe that it can't be that hard for these devs to do the same. Just like with the Shemps thing, when they didn't fix it completely, they managed to somehow come out with another patch in 2 weeks. How'd they do that? How'd they do that? They had to code something different. They managed to figure it out real quick and put the patch out quick when they wanted to. That's when they care. But they very slowly deal with major problems, such as Shemps duping, such as the balance in combat, the cars, the iframe spam, just putting a cooldown on that, the match time being 30 minutes being way too long is a joke. Games will never fucking end due to time unless the demon's fucking with you. That's it. Yeah, and that would only be at the low level or something. Like it's never gonna end. Like how many high level games, people over 100, did it ever end to time? Probably like 1 in 1,000. It's never gonna end because of that. It should be less. I would say 20 minutes at least to start with, and see how that goes from there. But that should be messed with too. Like these things that they just not freaking address. And I know I'm being mean here, but I do feel like how slowly shit has been done. The fact that they rushed out a prestige system with skill points that unbalance shit even more without addressing things, then put matchmaking in. It's unprofessional, and it shows me that they don't really care. They just kind of rush shit out when they're told to, and they don't care about anything else. That's what I feel like. That they're rushed to do shit, and then they don't care if it really ruins the game or not. They don't care. Which I don't know. That's not trying to hate on the people, but I feel like that's just there's no other way I can explain this. Why haven't they updated this page? How do you explain that? They're all on vacation for 2 months? I don't think so. Or over a month. I'm pretty sure they could have done it. It wouldn't be hard. Just like fixing a lot of things in this freaking game wouldn't probably be that hard for them. Because again, I think the devs are smart. I think they're smart. I never said that they're dumb, except when I get pissed off and say that in the heat of the moment. But I think that they're smart. They just don't care. I think they could do it if they wanted to. They have the brain to do it. They know how to do it. They could get it done. They just don't want to. They have no motivation to. And I feel like they're probably going to give the next thing we see is probably going to be some Christmas shit and about some skins and stuff. Like they need to deal with this. That's what I feel like. And that's why I've heard excuses. I know Solinki tries to defend them sometimes with the licensing reason that licensing partners don't let them give any info or negative things, but they did a known issues page and a Reddit post. I have 2 sets right here, examples of negative info that they were allowed to discuss. How can you explain that? If they could do it once, they could do it again. That's my point. Like, I don't care what the reason, what excuse they give. I know I've been around the block in my life. You don't need any, those are excuses. You can do it. If you really want to, you will find a way. Just like the most busy hot girl in the world, if she likes you, she will find a freaking way to text you back or something. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and all that other stuff that every other guy tells you to do. See you later.